Really seeing the SecureX platform today and the integration that's being developed there was super useful. There are obviously a lot of tools in the security product portfolio at Cisco, and in many ways, if often I think they are. It's like having different tools in your toolbox to solve a problem. Seeing those kind of pulled together with a SecureX platform to resolve potential security vulnerabilities or even threat response was really it was nice to see that kind of come full circle with the integration that they have there.
Cloud connectivity and WAN connectivity session where Cisco presented their current state and their growth and their plans around SASE was particularly interesting. Seeing a lot of growth in that space, and conversely, because of the fact that the worlds of networking and security are merging, hearing what's happening with SecureX and some of the tools that are happening on the more traditional security side helps me as a networker understand, what my coworkers that I kind of have to reach across the aisle and work with are doing. So that was great for me.
One was obviously Cisco plugging the hole in their outdoor wireless portfolio, but continuing to see them invest in custom silicon, especially around the RF ASIC, and continuing to see improvements there. But the thing that I saw today that I didn't see previously, or that was the first time I had been exposed to the platform, was the SecureX platform, and getting a better understanding about how there is sort of a container to drop all your security problems into and then let it sort of hook the pieces together. I thought was really insightful and valuable, and it was something that I certainly had never seen before.
The best part of these presentations are the technical exchange that gets taken, that takes place. We get technical answers to technical questions, and really it is that exchange. In so many presentations, it is one person speaking to 100 people, and it's a very one-way communication where everything at Tech Field Day is two-way communication between the community and between the presenter. It not only helps us to better understand the product, but I think I've seen multiple times where it also helps the product manager or the person giving that talk to better understand what we as engineers might be looking for. And I love that two-way exchange.
Presentation definitely gives the connotation that it is a one-way exchange. That it's somebody who's here to give information one direction. And I find these sessions that we do at Tech Field Day are very much bi-directional. We do get a lot of information from the vendors who come to present, but we also get a lot of opportunity to provide feedback about the things that we're seeing in the real world. And the best sessions are the ones where we get to have a conversation and really kind of dig into where the product is and where it might go. And so I think that's the real value.
What I find best about Tech Field Day events for Cisco Live, Cisco Live, I think is heavy lifting at the best of times. There's just a tremendous amount of content. But coming to the Tech Field Day event and being able to get that distilled down version of the salient, most important pieces of it, hearing the people who are living and breathing the products all day long, I think is fantastic exposure. Being able to sort of stop and put yourself in the shoes of other people who are telling their own story in their own words, really I think is where the power of the Tech Field Day event comes in. Being able to hear that sort of unfiltered from the horse's mouth, as it were, I think is incredibly powerful and really quite a value to get that whole event sort of distilled down into the important technical bits from a solutions perspective. I'd love to see somebody like Jerome Henry come on from Cisco and talk at the Tech Field Day events. I think he's always had a very, very tremendous insight into the wireless BU and the technology and the products as they're being worked and being developed. Would love to see somebody like Jerome come on and talk.
To see some of the more foundational everyday technologies. I feel like oftentimes when we are at a Tech Field Day, we're getting a lot of the cutting, bleeding edge, things that are obviously interesting to customers and are on the top of mind, but a lot of us still deal with a lot of the stuff that's traditional, and there is incremental change that is happening at. So I would love to talk to people about what's happening in Cisco switching and routing, and what's happening in some of those fundamental components that may not have the SDN branding or may not have some of the more flashy buzzwords around them.
Whether it's someone like Stephen or with a Wi-Fi Alliance or a lot of people working with IEEE. I love to hear those people talk about what the work that they are doing in those organizations, kind of the work that it takes to build standards and to further the cause of not just a Cisco product, but networking and our careers as a whole.
I would say largely because of the interaction between the delegates and the Cisco presenters. I think the delegates regularly come up with questions and interactions that are really representative of the community. And while I'm sort of reluctant to say they represent the community, I would say that I find myself more often than not just listening to the other delegates engage the presenters with questions that I had sort of proactively. And so I would say that there's sort of a real world flavor to the engagement that you don't really get out of the traditional Cisco Live sessions. And I know that's why I personally go back and watch them, is because it's the human touch that I think is sort of brought to the table for the engagement.
It's such an immense event, it's kind of hard to distill all that information. And so I find Tech Field Day to be a fantastic resource for this event and other conferences to be able to get the marrow out without having to invest as much time as you might have to in going in and watching the sessions that are presented from Cisco themselves. So that's specifically that. But I think even more so beyond that, I use Field Day videos as a reference. If I need to get up to speed on something that I don't touch every day, Field Day is one of the first places I go, whether it's Cisco Live or any other vendor. If I want a quickly distilled version of what a product does that isn't just marketing fluff, Field Day is the place to go get it.
It is a very fast way of getting up to speed on new technologies, new companies, new products. Because whenever that person is in front of the group, they know that the types of questions that they're going to have to answer. They know they're talking to a technical community, so so they're presenting technical information. They're not trying to present to CIOs or someone else. They're actually presenting information when they do it right, that other technical people like myself would be interested in and would need to know before making decisions on products.